God for help, for strength. We've come now, God, to engage in your word. Oh, we can't do it without your help. Open our eyes, our ears, our hearts, but above, change our lives. We pray now, Lord, as I communicate with your people, commune with me. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Hallelujah today. Every one of you came today with a gift. And I want you to give that gift away. Are you ready to give it away? First you want to know what it is, don't you? How are you going to give it away? You don't know what it is. You have the gift of a smile. And I want you to look at the person sitting next to you and I want you to give that gift away. Give it away. Amen. 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 Touch her. Look at me. Come on, give me that gift. Thank you. I saw you acting stubborn. You should be. Let me tell you something. If you don't have silver and gold, but such that you have, in the name of Jesus. And we don't know, man, how, what a smile can do for somebody. Just this day. Amen. I felt myself smiling. You probably say, I felt yourself. Yeah, man, I felt myself smiling. We were singing that song, man, oh, how I love Jesus. And, man, a smile just came over my face. And then when Lisa said, one more time, in my home, man, a smile hit me again. Yeah, you do great things. And guess how much that gift cost you? It didn't cost you nothing. But man, the impression it leaves upon the lives of others. All right, enough of that. I'm trying to settle my nerves a little bit. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. I was telling Anita Reverend Morgan a minute ago, my voice doesn't act silly until Sunday morning, and I don't know why. It just waits for Sunday. It acts silly. Oh. I was going to sing out a song, but that song ain't appropriate anyway. Look at y'all talking about thank you, Jesus. I'll sing a song one day. When I get to heaven. Yeah. Are you at 1 Corinthians 11? For those of you all that were at the funeral yesterday, I preached from 2 Timothy, but I gave them 1 Corinthians.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I've been dealing with eulogies like for the last few weeks, for a few days, and whatnot. And also trying to get ready for this morning. So it didn't even register on me yesterday that I had said 1 Corinthians when it was actually 2 Timothy. So this morning when I was kind of going back, I looked at my text again. I said, oh, it's 1 Corinthians. That's what I gave them yesterday. So I hope I don't give y'all yesterday's eulogy. At least something. All right. I'm a little bit settled now, a little bit more. Verse 23 through 25. Verse 23 through 25. King James Version of the Bible. Here it is. For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you. Yes. That the Lord Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. Check this next part out. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, This is my body. Catch the next phrase. Which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. From those two verses, or three, we want to use for a subject, reflections. Reflections. When I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed. I have a testimony. I have a testimony. The purpose, I think, of reflections is that we have the capacity to look from where we are to where we were. Old church is saying, I'm not what I used to be. I know that I'm not all that I should be. Then really sanctified folks say, but God. But look at God. Well, I think one of the things that I fail to do as often as I should, I'm not going to make this as much about you. I don't look back enough with a heartfelt gratitude for everything that God has done.
That's right.
There are some things that we look at and we allow them to make us miserable. We get saved. Some things that we've gone through, it's like when we think about it, we go through it again.
Wow. Wow.
That might need a moment.
Wow.
Think about a thing or something that happened to us, and there we are, like it's reoccurring. So, not the way reflections are supposed to work. When we look back, even over the hard things in our life, instead of crying, we ought to pinch ourselves and say, I survived. The toughest thing in my life did not take me out. The hardest fight I've had to fight up to this moment, I'm still standing. My darkest hour, I have not fainted. The reality is that when we look back at that thing, is to know that I went through it. I'm not still in it. I went through it. Y'all say a few more amens, y'all will help me preach. I think that our reflections help us to look at some things that we've done. If it didn't come out like we wanted it to,
That's right.
we're able to assess it and make the necessary adjustments that we need to make.
Right.
So that when we try again, I didn't say give up, when we try again, we're able to make a little bit more progress than we did the time before. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just talking about when you reflections, looking back. I did A, B, C. I left out D. This time I ought to put it in this time. You know what? I think I can do B a little bit better this time than I did. That's what reflection is all about. And here we are charged in our text to reflect.
Yes, yes.
Not so much over our lives and make ourselves gods and goddesses, but to see what God has done for us. God has done for us. You know, sometimes we think we done it. I know I'm supposed to say we did it. We think that we done it. We were just simply characters that God was using to depict the perfect image, battered by the storm. But I'm safe in his arms. Character to display that I've been through this, I've been through that, but he's been faithful through it all. I'm just a character depicting what grace looks like in the life of a child of God. I get in ruts. He reached down and pulled me up. I'm just a character. I've fallen even, but he didn't leave me. Songwriter said, if he has to reach way. Reflection. I've had some good days. Yeah. They ain't all been bad. I've had some hills to climb. They ain't all been bad. Sometimes my clouds hang low and I can hardly see the road. I ask the question, Lord, why? But then I know he knows. What's this? In my life story, this is my testimony. In my life story, every pain that I have gone through has benefited me. I didn't like it. I didn't welcome it. But I had no choice but to live through it. And now that I look back, it's been my foundation that helped me to stand firm. Stand on everything. Has made me more solid on my faith. I didn't want it. Sometimes I asked him to take it back. But because he didn't, he went with me through it. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All of the ground. All of the ground. Now let me do the take so we can go home. All right, I got to preach again tomorrow. So got to hold some little fewer. But I found it strange. I said strange that here we are with Paul. Y'all know Paul, Saul, Paul. Writing a record that deals with the Eucharist.
Yes, yes.
That's a seminary word they gave us that means the Lord's Supper. communion.
Yes.
Haiti, go to school and get these good old words, Eucharist. But Paul brings us to this stage to tell us some things about the Eucharist. And I have 3 stations here that I'm going to walk through with you. But Paul gives us the backdrop to say that early in the text up above, he said that some of y'all come to the communion table like it's a meal. He said that's the wrong approach. You don't come to the communion table looking at it like it's a meal. Some came to the table as though it was an entitlement. They were better than other folks. I like the story. Excuse me, Lord, don't let me get too distracted because I'll preach 2 hours. I like the table scenery. Don't worry, I won't do 2 hours. I promise you I won't. I may do 140, 150, but I ain't doing it. But check this out. What I like about the table, and that's why I think we have to think sometimes imagery, is that can you imagine Jesus sitting at a roundabout with 12 guys? Imperfect. Everyone that was at that table had some imperfection. But Jesus didn't turn not one. Not one. He was inviting to the table not only those that were on their faith walk, but were struggling. Had not yet arrived to all they could be. Y'all remember Peter? Peter was at his table. And it was from this table that Peter walked away saying, I would never deny you. But you know what happened before they sat to eat? Jesus had washed their feet. Now you would think that a man that would wash your feet, it was telling you that washing is my submission and my servitude in ministry. Even though they knew he was Lord, he humbled himself and washed their feet. Peter would go from washing the feet, breaking bread, to a denial. But Jesus knew it all. And he did not cast Peter off. Y'all remember Judas? While he was there, it was an indignation in his heart to betray Jesus, even while he was sitting there, came to the table like nothing was going on. Nothing was in his heart that was deceitful. Nothing was in his heart that would be a violation of what he promised, his love towards Jesus. He sat there like he was in love with him. But Jesus let him come. How many people, when we look back, have we turned away because our perspective and our preferences, they didn't meet up to? When he allowed the one who would betray him with a single act of love, a kiss, would betray him, a symbol of brotherhood, a kindred, would betray him, but it sat there like nothing was coming down the pipeline.
Wow.
How many times have I come into God's house?
Yeah. Come on now.
Heart not right, mind not right, me not right, just come.
Amen.
But he didn't cut us off. Can I tell y'all something? It was a month ago that you came in like that, and it's a month later he still let you come. on us. Paul, I think, has a great appreciation for this because he come from a bad place, man. A bad place. Saul, before his conversion, that fellow, man, was a fearful fellow. You didn't want to meet up with him with the lights out, man. You wanted to make sure they was on high beam, and you watching him, everybody else watching him. Paul was persecuting the church, had the folk beat, killed. He didn't care because he felt that his stance was right. Then he met Jesus. Can you remember what you were doing before you met Jesus? And you thought it was all right before you met Jesus. And when you met Jesus, he changed your perspective. You said, my Lord, how could I have been that kind of person? And you love me still. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Have you ever looked up the word ungodly? Have you ever looked that up, the word ungodly? It ain't pretty. Ruthless. Spiritually, consciously dead. Step on folks' feet with your spikes in. Look back and dare them to speak up. Do wrong and have a parade. Y'all don't remember that? Y'all don't remember having a parade? Let me tell you what your parade was, girl. Let me tell you about last night. That's the parade. Paul brings us to a place and says that here is what I want you to know. Don't come to the table for a meal, but let's get the perspective on this thing right. What is Jesus calling us to? Because you notice that in verse number 24 and verse number 25, he has a common phrase, in remembrance of me. But in other words, I want you to be mindful, reflecting of why you're here and what we have going on. Paul brings us to this table and he says that in the same night that Jesus was betrayed. Same night that Jesus was betrayed. Y'all excuse me. Let me scan something real quick. First thing that he wants us to do is to recall our deliverance. Here we are, Brother Dennis. What brings this table to us is the understanding that this is an occasion that they would come together periodically, and they were required, we put it that way, required to come together to reminisce about the acts of God in their lives. What do you mean by that? They were required to recall their deliverance out of Egypt. How that night when they took blood and put it over the doorposts. How they took blood and put it over. Do you have a wayward child? Take blood and put it over. Do you have an issue in your life? Take blood and put it over. They took blood and put it over the doorpost. And when the death angel traveled through the city, he would know what house to go over. And what the Israelites were saying in Egypt was, he spared my life. That's what they were saying. So they put the blood over the doorpost, and they were, the death angel passed over. And how God told Moses to tell them on the last night in town, go to bed, but don't take your shoes off. Mama wouldn't stand for that. Go to bed with your shoes on. But God instructed them tonight, go to bed, but don't take your shoes off. Because tonight we're leaving this place called Egypt. But before you go, I need you to go to every house Not the ones that got blood over the post, but every house that don't have blood over the post. And borrow from them silver and gold and all kinds of things from them. For tonight you shall leave this place. And God was telling them, you came in broke, but you're leaving out less. You know, we can't get caught up on how we come into a situation, because while we're in the mixer, God knows how to blink and chop up what needs to be chopped up, so that when he pours us out, we're better on the outside than we were when we were on the inside. That sounds good to me. And sometimes just let God have his way. Get into the storm, but find the safest place. The safest place in any storm is in the eye, which means that God got his eyes on you. Lord, yes, we don't have to worry about what God leads us to. Just know that God is with us wherever we are going. So here we are at this particular table, and they are trying to reminisce and tell the story, because they were not writing originally all of these things down. So the information was passed on through oral tradition. So they would be responsible for making sure that the children knew, and the grandchildren knew, and the great-grandchildren knew, and the great-great-grandchildren knew how God had delivered them from Egypt. They were there for 400 years in slavery, and it was not a bed of ease, because the man that knew Joseph, he had died, and there was no favor with the children of Israel anymore. Even their labors began to get harder and harder and harder. They were required to make bricks without straw, but the production had to go up and could not remain the same. And they were crying out to God, God, we need you to deliver us. And God said, I'm hearing you, 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 I'm hearing you.
Thank you, Lord.
And in time, God was working behind the scene. Even though it looked like God was not on their side, he was still preparing them to come out of this thing. What took him so long? Moses had not been born yet. The one that I wanted to use, I had him back in the behind the curtains. I had not been born yet. He had not been put in the basket and sent down the brook just yet, so that Pharaoh's daughter could see him and get his mother, who sent him off to nurse him, and that he would have the opportunity to grow up in Pharaoh's house with the edge on knowledge. Moses had not gone to the next side of the mountain just yet, hiding because he was a murderer. What did you just say? Hiding because he was a murderer. What did you just say? God will use a murderer to deliver a nation. I thought if you sinned, you were exempted. I thought if you had a crime, you weren't good enough. I thought if you had done wrong, you don't fit in. God got room. For folks like us, there's a lie, the stone, backbiting. Yeah, God got room. If nobody else wants us on their team, God said, I'll try. I'll take it. So here we are at the table, and they are reminiscing as usual about their Exodus experience, how God had allowed the death angel to pass over, because that was a responsibility at this feast, to remember what God had done in their lives. And they had to remember their hardship in order to express appreciation for what God had done. The children needed to know, we got to be thankful to God, because we could have been still over in Egypt. Look at us now. We not only crossed the rivers, but we came through the wilderness. God has been good to us. They had to recall their deliverance. And it was at the same fellowship that Jesus decides to institute something that had never been brought up before. They were accustomed to bringing sacrifices in. And don't you let me lose that word, because I got to use it over there. They were used to sacrifices coming in. But what they did not know before their very eyes was the Lamb of God.
Yes, yes.
that taketh away the sins of the world. He was sitting there with them, communing with them in such a personified way that they could have almost missed it. Until we find these words. The same night that he was betrayed. Jesus took me. This really what, Miranda, this is what shocked me. In the same night, Jesus was betrayed. Y'all at that point? Verse 23. You got it? Kalendra, you got it? Who got it right now? Because there's a phrase that I'm looking for. What happened next?
Take it.
He took bread.
And
No, y'all missing the part.
And he said,
I need that part. Go back. 23. Read it. Receive the Lord. I delivered unto you. The same night he was betrayed. Took bread. Oh, give me the next part. And when he had given, now this is the thing that made me turn a cartwheel. How can I know that I'm getting ready to die? Give thanks. How can I give thanks when I know that I'm the substitute for what they used to bring to the table as a sacrifice? How can I give thanks? What we find is that the communion table pushes itself closer to the house. Even though it happens in one place, it still pushes itself closer. Jesus took bread, catch this next thing. And when he had given thanks, I'm not through with him giving thanks yet. Because see, some of us are just sad about our assignments. God wants to use us as an instrument to help somebody. And why me? Because you've been fortified. I've carried you through the storm. You've been in the wilderness and you found your way through. You've been broken. You've been bent all out of shape and you survived. Why not you? I bless your life so that you can go in and be a blessing to somebody else. Thank you that you pulled me off the ship that I can be used to be a blessing to somebody else. Thank you that I'm not in my grave and I'm still standing on my feet, that I can be a light to the world, that you can show them what God can do with a boy from Route 4 Box 159. You can come from nothing and he can use you to do great and amazing things. Thank you that I can come up from nothing and God can set me on the solid rock. I can be broke and he can make me wealthy. I can be out and he can bring. Thank you that you can use my life as an example unto others. I can show them that it matters not where I come from. As long as I put my life in the hands of God, then God will take my life and make it better, and better. Thank you when I was out strength. You made me strong. Thank you, Lord, that I was hiding and you brought me out in a hiding place. Thank you that when I was thirsty, you were my water and I made you. Thank you when I was lonely and by myself. Lord, I had no friend in the world. I heard a song. It's our friend like the Lord Jesus. Dennis, it was almost like he was saying, here I am in mind, giving thanks to the Lord for this opportunity to be here. God, how many times in the midst of your troubles, instead of complaining, you said, it ain't over yet, but I'm pressed on every side, but to bread. We had given thanks. Other thing is recognizing your deliverer. Recognizing your deliverer. Recognize that you've been delivered from some stuff. And Lord knows I have. Not only from some stuff, Tyrone, I've been delivered from some places.
Yes, sir.
I know God is real. Because there was some places he was pulling me from. I was leaning, trying to tag my foot on the base and say, I want to stay here. Y'all ever had some places that you didn't want to leave? You know that God didn't want you there, but you were saying, it's just too good to leave right now. As long as my foot is on the base, I'm still here. God said, I want you out. You said, not out of this, but out of that one, yeah. Boy, I'm going to tell y'all this short story. Hey, y'all, don't y'all think that I was a drug addict. I wasn't a drug addict. It was my recreational choice of, yeah, it was just my recreational outlet. But I love recreation. Man, I remember, this is a true story. This is a story. It's very short. I remember, I'm going to tell you something. Let me just say this. Some stuff I can tell y'all, but y'all look at me and say, this is good. Thank you. I remember a while ago, I just thought about you live streaming. Let me make this 3 better so they might not get on me. Listen, I remember when I was going to the club. There was a spot down from where Dennis lived called Quasar. If you were older, it was called Shaft. But if you were younger, it was called Quasar. And I remember, boy, I used to go to that spot, man. After when I was in high school, boy, I could dance a little bit. And now I got older, man, my shoelaces are tied. But back then, I used to love to go to this spot and dance, man. But we would always take a hit to the head before we went in. They got it legalized in some places. Man, I remember it wasn't no party like it when you had a little of that. But I'm telling you, it was on. And I remember that the Lord was trying to help me come out of that and whatnot. And I was like, Lord, you know, save me. I want to be saved. Thank you. I want to be delivered. You know, you already helped me with the alcohol, but the weed.
It's on the earth.
And I got it under control. Away from me. And I remember as God was pulling me away, this is true story, that God was pulling me away, that the odor of it became so foul to me that I could not stand it. And you talking about a guy, my first experience was 6th grade. I smoked my first joint in 6th grade. By the time I got to high school, it's something called a path. You got this between my mama's house and the 4-H club. It was something called a path. And it was just how the shortcut to getting over there. And we would get high every morning before we went to school. I wouldn't stop. As long as I was high, I wouldn't stop. So I want y'all to see that this habit was building. And every morning before we caught the bus, we would go to the path and get high. I was in high school, going to the club, hanging out. Before we went in, we would hit a little bit, smoke a little bit, blow shotguns at each other, laugh, talk, go take a spot. So here we are. God has pulled me away from the alcohol, but I'm saying, God, I can weed. God began to make it smell so bad, I couldn't stand it. I'm telling you how the Lord was working now. Because Because when you go in the club, you were smelling liquor, women, and weed. That's why I was smelling it. Liquor, women, and weed. And not necessarily in that order. But here we go. So when the smell got so strong, I could no longer go in the club and stay. So while God was delivering me from the weed, he was also delivering me from the club. But I was asking the Lord, no, take the Lord. I give you the club, but don't take the weed, or I give you the weed, but don't take the club. Y'all ain't never been in no kind of place. Like, I'm for real now. Y'all, some of y'all for real Christians. You know, y'all superheroes. God just birthed you and that's the thing in. That way my God had to work with me. I'm talking about for real work with me. Yes, indeed, he had to 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 work with me. Take the weed. Take the club, but don't take the weed. You're taking both of it at the same time. And it got to a point after that I would pay my cover charge and stand outside. Delivered. He was delivered. You got your own story. The way you were trying to hold on and God was trying to pull you up another direction. That's all the Israelites was doing, remembering what they were. It was bringing them to this place. Jesus took bread and he. Now here's a crazy thing is this. Have y'all ever had a child in school and the school calls you about your child? And you know when you left, sent them home from home, you know they knew better than to do what the school was calling them out. You like me in your truck. I know doggone well you ain't talking about Gary Adams Jr. Not the one I just put on the bus 15 minutes ago at school. But 5 minutes, you ain't calling me at 8:05. Telling me to come get him. He just got there. Y'all ain't never ever got wrong. It was so bad that the janitor knew. When I drove up, he said, hey, Mr. Adams, you know the janitor ain't supposed to know no past. Hey, the security officer, yeah, the people in the office, yeah, but the janitor not supposed to know your name. Hey, Mr. Adams, back up here again, huh? Yep. But here's the thing, this is what I want you to see. That the same Jesus that took bread and broke it, I want you to realize, can you do me something? Can you pass me my notes? I want to read this just like I wrote it. I think I have the capacity to do it, but I want to read just like I wrote it. Because this is what I want you to see the gravity of what I'm trying to explain. I'm talking about deliverance, which means that you have to look at the table, then we're going to go to the cross. But here's the thing, what happened? Okay, here we go right here. I want you to realize that when the school called about your child, you knew the child knew better.
Come on, God.
But you also knew you had to go get the child.
Come on, Lord. Come on, Lord.
You knew the act of the child was a discipline. But you still knew that you or somebody in the family had to go get the child. I just threw something on. I don't know if you got it just yet. The child was sinning. It broke you. But when you have to go to school more than one time, he took himself and said, this is my body. What did you just say a minute ago, Gary? I said that when the children mess up, either the parent goes and get the child, or they send a family member. When we were in sin, God knew that we had messed up, but he still said, I got to go get it. God knew my Jesus. Cain has got me. Disorderly conduct, misbehaved, caught up in sin. God said, Jesus, go. My sin was so bad to them. Broke. I'm not talking to folk in white. They've been right along. For those of us that knew that God, we told him no, but our no turned into a yes. He broke him. But he didn't leave us in the principal's office. He sent for us. Came and got us every time. I can't read. He says that, yeah, I see the glasses. It's simple to put them on like that. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and said to him, this is my body broken for you. He gives thanks because he says that this is my opportunity to do what nobody else can do. The question here is, when have you looked at your last situation and said, God, I thank you for putting me in it, because in this situation, I am doing what nobody else could do. You picked me to be in this situation. And then he says to them, he says, he gave thanks, and then he said to them, take me in. Take He took bread, he broke it, and he gave it to them, saying, take me, in paraphrase, take me in. Can you see that? This is my body, which is broken for you. Take me in. I'm still on the point of recognizing the deliverer. That's part A of recognizing the deliverer. I'm almost done too. But the last part of B of this is, you have to see the cross as you see the table. Amen. It may not mean nothing to you to see this imagery. But I'm on a tree between two men that deserve to be out here. But I'm standing here as an intercessor.
Amen.
Because the Father has that kind of heart. We screwed up, but Daddy sent me to come get y'all. The devil had you bound, but Daddy told me to come and set y'all free. I wish you could see the man on this cross doesn't look like an ordinary man, because at this particular point he had been beaten and there were hooks that were on the whip that had pulled his flesh from his body. He was not just bleeding in his hands and in his feet, but he was bleeding from his head and on his backside and even on his legs. He was bleeding. At the point, this particular point, when he's hung, he's already weak. But remember, at the table, he had already said, thank you. Thank you for the beating that I'm going to take from spikes that will pull my skin off my body. Thank you for the nails that will be driven in my hand to hold me on the cross. Thank you for the nails that will be driven through my feet. But God, you said that Gary Adams is worth it. I know back in glory there's a seat beside you that I'm able to call angels and they'll pull me down, but I choose, because I see a Dennis Black and you say that he's worthy. When I try to lift my legs to push myself up and give support is just as agonizing as it is when I'm trying to hang by my hands to give my legs some relief. But God, you said, Omegas, she was worth it. God, can you not hear the people at the foot of the cross saying, listen, he saved other folk, he can't save himself. Can't you see them casting lots for who shall get my robe? But God, even them, you say that is worth it. So what am I to do except hang on in him? The lies that have been told, you said hanging here was worth it. So I'm going to hang on in him. God, for all folk that have come short of the things that they've done, God, I'm going to hang on in him. Every father, mother that walked away from their child, that left them abandoned and alone, and those that have been addicted to things that they were out of their mind, God, you said that they were worth it. I'm going to hang on in him. Those that said that they wouldn't, but they found themselves doing what they said they would not do over and over and over again. God, you said they were worth it, so I'm going to hang on in you. I'm talking about you got to recognize your deliverer. It was not that he was forced to do it. He chose to do it because he saw your face and said, oh, you said that it was worth it. Who are you redeeming? You said your children, but you say to my brothers and sisters also. I said, God, I'll hang on. Hang on. The story tells us that even he couldn't be recognized because of the abuse. Seemingly, when a contender has been beaten to the point of nearly death, if he doesn't have the strength to surrender, his coach or manager surrenders for him. This particular person that's looking at their sins afar from the cross, even in 2018, looking at our sins, even in 2019, yes, he already knows what we're going to do. He already knows that. But still he hangs on the cross from afar and say, for you, I'm going to hang on. I didn't tell you about the cup because he says, this is the blood of the New Testament. He says, no. You didn't used to have to drink it, but I want you to drink it this time. Because I want you to know that what I'm doing on the outside is working on the inside. I don't care what sin you think about. Jesus saw it and he hung on the cross in a disfigured body. Didn't even look like a human being anymore. He hung there with one thing in mind. Salvation for the world. God, you brought them out of Egypt, but I am bringing them out of sin. I want you to know, I told you about that sacrifice. That he said, thank you, Lord. This is what the sacrifice looks like. This looks like bleeding. Punishment. Some of you saying, well, I don't deserve it. He didn't. So I want you to rethink about what you deserve. And when you're standing in the gap for other folk, yes, you're going to get blows that you didn't deserve. You're going to get blows that you don't deserve. You're going to be disfigured that you didn't deserve. But yet, you see the greater cause of hanging in there for somebody. I want you to reevaluate that. They ain't worth it. Did you think you were? Because he was your brother. That's right. He decided he'd hang it there. Finish up this sermon, Gary. I think I will. Norwood, I don't know what you did. Never in my life, until a few years ago, I had this epiphany. Talking about the work of salvation. What he's done. I never thought about the fount, Brother Sidney. that, but I can move this. But the fount is connected. Fount is a symbol. Washing away of sin. Cleansing. A couple of years ago, I talked about every time we take communion, there ought to be an official that takes water and just splashes it on every believer. To remind them that you're coming to a table that has declared that you are clean. You've been from your sin. Hold on just a minute, y'all. I got something on the inside. That every time I come to the table to receive the broken bread in the cup that has been poured into, that said that it was his blood, and he tells me on both occasions, the body and the blood, not to eat and drink, but to paraphrase, take me in. And as a result of taking me in, I want you to realize that you have been clean. What can take away my sin? What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood. Where was his blood shed? At the cross. I hope you see the continuity of the table of the cross in the fount. That we come to this table this morning, not because we are sinners, but because we're sinners who can be clean. No sin is strong enough to hold you bound. How do you know? Because I've been delivered. And because he died. And because he died, I've been washed. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. I got a cousin. He's a repeated offender. He seems as though he's lost his mind. I got a cousin that just, no matter how hard you try and work with him, he just can't get it together. I got a child that seems like nothing gets into his head, her head. I got a spouse that's, Lord, I just wish you were here. How far does it reach, church? It reaches to the highest mountain. And it flows to the lowest valley. It gives us strength from day to day. The blood. The blood. So now when I come to this Eucharist celebration, I don't see a white table draped with cloth on the wall. I see a table that reminded me that I was bound in my sin. But he sent a deliverer to come and get me from my sin. There were some things that I loved. He came to get me even from the things that I loved. And I come to this table reminded and reflecting that I have a past that I've gotten over. I come today to receive of him, knowing that he died on the cross, looking at March 19th, 1967, in a house on Highway 16, delivered by a midwife who was also his grandmother. Looking at his birth, but knowing his future, he stayed on the cross because he said, Gary, Sally's second oldest child, he needs me. He looked from afar and saw March 1967. I don't know what your day was, but while your mother was travailing, trying to get you out, he had already been looking out. very blessed. Whom my heart sing. Stream of mercy, never ceasing. Call for song, loudest praise. Teach me, teach me, teach me, teach me, teach me, teach me. Song, melodious song, sung by flaming palms of wood. Here's my heart. Lord, take it and seal it. Seal it from by thy course. Course of thee. And after he has done the great work, here I raise my Ebenezer.
Yes, sir.
Did y'all know what Ebenezer means? Look at Ebenezer. Ebenezer deals with a rock. Do you still know the Greek? Here I raise thy Ebenezer, my rejoicing for voice. Hither by thy help I come. Reflection. From where? Is that you, Arthur? Where? Is that you, Arthur? From way over yonder? Is that you, Arthur? From way over yonder? I see Arthur. How can you see him? Because he was hung high. How can you see so far? Because he was hungry. This is where I close. I'm not going to try to go back to these notes because if I go back, that's another 45 minutes. I know it. I don't need the 3 words to do an hour. I hope you see in this picture not just a Savior dying, but a Savior inviting. Everyone that's broken, come to this cross. Everyone that is hurting, come to this cross. Why do I want to come to the cross? Because here's where your healing is. Here's where your deliverance is. Where I first saw the light, the burdens of my heart, they rolled away. It was there by faith that I received my sight. And now I'm happy all day. Drops of grief can never repay the debt of love I owe. Drops of grief can never repay the debt of love I owe. So what are you going to do? Here, Lord, I give myself away. Tears off that I can do. Where? At the cross. At the cross. That's my time. But I thank God for grace. For grace. For grace. I thank him for being the lover of my soul. I'm not talking about the lover of just this or that, but the lover of my soul. So when we come to this table, it's more than just cup and bread. It's my life. That I'm reminded that I needed to be delivered. And that I had a deliverer my deliverer. That set me free.